Bernie, what were you doing before World War II? Where were you?
I was only a child. I left school at 14 in those days. I left school at 14. Then I just worked in a factory, steaks and something in Melbourne, doing buttons for the army and so forth. I joined up on the 4th of July, 1941. I was 15 then, almost 16.
Were you allowed to join up that young?
No, but I put my age up.
How old did you say you were?
21, and I was as skinny as a rat. Anyone could join in those days. I went away in January 42, then we were in combat with the Japs. I was in field workshops. It's a mechanical unit.
So why had you joined up?
Just change, it wasn't Virginia's country. I was no hero, but I wanted adventure. Most of my group were up to 20, you know.
Did you have any concept of what war was like?
Yeah, Dad used to tell us. Dad was in the First World War. He said he'd shoot us before he let us join the army, but he didn't know I joined at the time. I did it on the side. There was a big blow about that when he found out. However, I said if he didn't permit me to go, I would sign under another name, and then he would have no trace of me at all. I'm not proud of that, but that's what happened.
What was your dad's experience when fighting
in France? And he was gassed, wounded, and he had a fair knowledge of war, of course. And he didn't want us to go, but two of my brothers went before I did. They went over to the Middle East.
Where did you go to?
Singapore.
And what was it like over there?
Well, they were bombing and strafing, and they were in action. The action was started before I got there. And the Japs landed shortly after we did on Singapore Island, and so it was bombing and strafing and all that, and we were all infantry. In fact, all infantry were all just out there, you know, shooting and spying, you know, all that business. We tossed it in on the 15th of February. That was the day that the Allies surrendered to the Japs. It was a mass surrender. It wasn't an individual surrender. We didn't just walk out there and put our arms up. Our chiefs and that sergeant surrender with the Japs who were on the second line of defence.
How did you remember those 16-year-old?
I was thrown amongst them, then all of a sudden I was a virgin when I came back. So I was only kids, we were told to put our arms, you know, the rifles in the heap and not to damage them in any way. But most of us hit them around a tree and bent the barrels as best we could, you know. Then it was a couple of days before we saw the Japs. Then they marched us out to Salarang barracks. That's out in Changi area. So they were incarcerated. But Changi wasn't bad. Some people say to be the Changi terrible, but it was not. In Changi we could learn we grew our own vegetables, made things for the sick, like artificial legs and stuff, and we were under control of our own people. Like just like in the army. Up on the railway, when they told us we're going back to Changi after the railway finished, you know, burn the railway, we all cheered as if we're going back to Australia. It was beautiful back in Changi compared with the railway.
So you actually worked on the
railway. There's an outbreak of cholera. Many lives were lost because of illness and starvation. And they say there's a body for every sleeper up there.
So how long did you work on the railway?
About 9 months on the railway, 9, 10 months.
Were you starving or?
Starving, yeah. You go to work with a loincloth on, take your clothes off, close your head, and have a loincloth on just to cover yourself. And we didn't have shoes towards the end. You go to work with just about that, in your water bottle, and a loincloth. And then when you come home, you jump in the river and have a swim and wash yourself up if you're fit. Our first job was building a corduroy road. That's logs across the road, you know, saplings, so that supplies could get through. And then we had to dig dirt out and build up this embankment, you know, with little baskets. That's what we used to call the Japs, little yellow baskets. Well, we couldn't say we didn't like the sweet.
I don't believe you, Bernie. I reckon the guys gosh.
You're not kidding, yeah. We jump in before dawn, and you march out to your job. It might be raining, you know, miserable rain. March out to your job and be there at dawn so that you could start work. And then you'd knock off and then you'd be guided, you know, to go backward. You can see the fire in the distance with those cremating bodies, all the dead. We were sort of guided back by this fire, you know. See, when the bodies weren't cremated properly, like in an ordinary crematorium, just be your skin burnt off on it. So we had to bury the skeletons. Sometimes at night time we came home, we'd have that job as well as we don't have to work all day. You'd have to be at a burial party. No bugles in our camp, no flags. Whoever was there celebrate, because it weren't to me. Padres around.
Did you know who it was, though?
Well, you had a fair idea. You come home and that bed would be vacant. The bed next to be vacant. You know, you'd leave them in the morning, they'd be sick in bed. You come home and they'd be gone. So you had a fair idea.
What kept you all going?
A lot of lies and things. People scolded about what they did in city life. Most of them were liars, most of them were swaggies, you know. In those days it was depression days.
Was there ever a time, I guess, when you thought this is all just too hard? It was just too easy to get sick and die?
My son did, but no, I didn't, in fact. I always felt strong enough to get through, you know. Even though I was very sick when I had repeating malaria, very, very dysentery and all that stuff. We did bashings. We got bashed here. One day I got a real good one. Because I said to a Jeff used to say to us, if you fell over or something, they'd say, oh, no good, Jamaica, or something like that. And this Jeff fell over one day. And I said, no good, Jamaica. He got up the candle and got stuck into me. Broke my collarbone and things. But then I found out from an interpreter that it means no good, stupid. So no wonder he got stuck into me. And everyone cheered. Going back to Chingy. It was like we're going to go home, you know. It was a home away from home. Sometimes you work on the airport. You go down and work party. That was the Chingy airport, you know. You've heard of it. It's a big airport now. Or you might go work on the wharf. And I was a cunning devil. I just stole some pants on the wharf and put them on because my old pants were burned. Jeff saw these pants, he cut it up his mix, made me take them off, march back to camp with the no pants on. And then the natives laughed, the Japs laughed, and even our troops laughed. So this naked fellow walking back to camp.
Didn't have a shirt on?
No, just a thing. That's not what it was.
And so how did news filter through you? You say you knew when the second bomb was being dropped.
Well, we had secret radios. An officer or a superior would get the news and pass it on to us. And then the next morning we went out on parade and the jump officer said, it's a big wet today and you might hurt yourself. And he said, we're afraid you might fall over and hurt yourself. But it was all bunkum. But we knew the war was over then. The Allied planes went over. From pamphlets. So the Japs, the war was over, and General Paratrooper, an English officer, he's out on the aerodrome, seeing the aerodrome, and they brought him up to the gyro. The Japs were there and taking free change. We used to have to get out of them, you know, until the day after the bomb dropped. And then they were bowing to us. It was beautiful. The nicest day I had as a prisoner of war was the second bomb dropped on Japan on the 9th of August. We had rice, of course, and the boys all put in a couple of spoonfuls of rice on a plate, and they grated up some coconuts, and then they put some grilled molecules and sort of native sugar on top. And when we finished our meal, they presented me with this. That was my birthday cake. We all had a bit of this rice with sugar and coconut.
So was it actually your birthday?
Yeah, 9th of August.
So how old were you then?
6 hours 20. I'm going to put it on the Japs. not this generation, but I'm critical on my generation. What they did, the cruelty, a lot of fellas should never have died over there. It's different to dying with a bullet, starvation, illness, you know, no supplies.
How hard was it to adjust back to normal life? I mean, you have been locked away for so long, you've seen all these atrocities.
Yeah, well, Red Cross chased 5 of us, and we went to chase 5 of us to go into a place called Mount Eliza in Melbourne. And they gave us a fortnight down there just getting accustomed to things, you know. It was good to it. There was horse riding and dances every night with some of the girls that were around the place. But I didn't know much about those things.
And was it hard to find a job?
We had an intelligence test. I wasn't good enough to be a doctor. I was finished up a carpenter. I did a course at Echuca and a rehabilitation course. And I did carpentering until 52. There's a bit of a depression, 1952. By then I had 4 children. I got married shortly after I came back. This was my second wife, so I joined the police force then. When I joined the police force, I still worked as a carpenter. And I came to Toowoomba to build or help build rock pipes at the factory. And my little honey was working in a pub then. So I met Audrey. And then I went back to Melbourne because I had to start work again. Police work, and she called me down and hooked me.
And then you brought it back to Queensland after many years. Considering you were 15 going on 16-year-old who joined the army in search of adventure, did you think you found it?
Yeah, well, I signed orders the other day. I'm sorry I got captured, but I'm not sorry I went to the war. A lot of blokes, when the bugle sounded, they turned deaf and they didn't go, you know. You see what I mean? A lot of fellas didn't, and I'm glad they can't point a finger at me.
How do you think being in the war shaped your life afterwards? Do you think it had much of an impact on you?
Oh, a lot of memories. You know, I used to give all your rough time getting out of bed, have nightmares, you know.
How have you been going since the stroke?
Terrible. Mentally, it's very frustrating. I can't even hold a nail now. And I can't pick up a bit of paper. But unfortunately, I can speak it. Go look at Audrey.